The Pennsylvania Historical Association came to the Yorktown this year for its annual conference, and so we thought we would highlight the Yorktown as one of the amazing assets and resources that we have here in York, because it is bringing people to the downtown. Here's a lovely picture of Jim McClure, our third behind-the-scenes Hometown History co-host, when Dami and I presented on the Golden Venture.
It was super exciting. And then another thing coming to York is the Lincoln Highway Conference. So that's going to be in June 2026, and you can contact Tom Davidson, Google it, and you can get all of the information about that exciting conference happening in York.
And at the Yorktown. So Yorktown is hopping and popping.
It's the place to be.
It is. Well, speaking of which, that's what we're going to talk about today. So we are back. Hometown History hasn't filmed since November, I think.
Because Jamie had a baby.
I did have a baby. I have a baby now. Yeah, and I wanted to show him, but he's a little bit of a squeaker. We're going through the dinosaur phase where he's just like,
it's a little fussy right now. We'll post pictures of him because he's super cute.
Oh, thanks. Well, Aunt Dami is also...
I'm a little biased.
So this presentation, the title is called Yorktowne Hotel at 100 Hometown History presents an interactive memory-sparking event. This is part 1.
Yeah, so this is a smaller segment of a larger presentation that happened in the fall at the Yorktowne Hotel. So in this episode, we're going to cover the grand opening, what it was like staying there, and the rise and fall of the hotel, including how we almost lost it.
Stay tuned for part 2 and 3 that will drop in the next couple of weeks. This is also an extension of a presentation that Jim and I did back in October, and we booked the house. That was the night they had their speakeasy jazz night, and it was filled. It was standing room only, so we adapted it to be tonight's presentation.
I think I was at a Civil War reenactment
that
night.
You couldn't make it, yeah. And you had told us months in advance. You're like, just so you know, like I am going to be busy.
And Jim filled in for me.
So the Yorktown, let's talk about its birth. It was opened in 1925 on East Market and South Duke, and as Dami said, it was the place to be even 100 years ago. It was extremely fashionable for the time. Here are some of the things that it had. Some luxury amenities, private baths and air circulation systems, things that we kind of take for granted now.
Yes.
Like I just assume I'm going to go somewhere and I will have a bathroom and it will have AC.
Not in 1925.
Yeah, very much. It has a large dining room with multiple ballrooms where people experience some of York's finest dining. I had lunch there once and it was super good. Have you eaten there yet?
I have not, but I remember us being there on the rooftop and just looking at the beautiful views and how beautiful it was.
We'll go out for drinks every now and then on the rooftop. That's what I'm fun, like a fun end of night go-to location.
Yes.
There were metal keys that opened 121 guest rooms with their own bathrooms, like we said, custom carpentry and the finest fixtures with the most decorative designs, and as it says there on the screen, it was 11 stories tall, making it with the flagpole the largest or the tallest building in York County, giving rise to the saying, nothing rises above the Yorktown.
Gotta count that flagpole.
Right.
So the Yorktown was state-of-the-art for its time. People were booking it to hold family reunions, their dances and parties, and the architecture really lent itself to that because it was a blend of colonial revival, and it tipped its hat toward the important role that York County played in the Revolutionary War. Shout out America 250 that's happening this year. And its rooftop offered sweeping views of the city through public rooftop access. That wasn't a part of the hotel's offering then, but it is today, and it provided a glamorous backdrop for dances and celebrations during the Jazz Age. So if you wanted to see and be seen in York, you went to the Yorktown. So basically the same as today. And it wasn't just a hotel, it was a statement that York was a cosmopolitan city.
One of the ways that we know it was so popular was because the people that came here, if you would have been a patron and booked a room at the Yorktown for a night out back in the day, you would have ran into people like Bill Clinton, Frank Sinatra, Boyz II Men, Lucille Ball, Walter Cronkite, Colin Powell, all of whom visited Yorktown. And even now, they've had some famous people. I recently heard that Nickelback stayed there.
Oh, interesting.
Jay Leno and Justin Moore have all stayed there
That's
in the
really
past year
cool.
or two.
Hey, they know it's the place to be.
Have you seen anyone famous in York County, Dami?
Have I seen anyone famous in York County? I don't know if other people would consider them famous.
Well, now I'm curious. Who?
I don't know off the top of my head. I mean, in like the Civil War reenacting world, there's been some people rolling through town, but yeah.
Some local fangirl over here that Dami loves.
Yeah, I mean, York County is home to a lot of famous people throughout history, though. So whether they live here or they're visiting. But the Yorktown marketed their hotel as a place for everyone. So even though there was famous people staying there, anyone else could go there as well. So newspapers in the 1920s used phrases such as democratizing the good things in life, a guest is also a human being, and a home-like atmosphere.
here are some things that they would have stressed back in the day: learning guests by name, greeting them with a smile. It makes people feel seen and heard. I mean, I know that's something I notice is when I'm going somewhere and a server gives me eye contact.
Yes.
It just makes me feel like, okay, you're a human, I'm a human. We're recognizing one another. They would anticipate the guest's needs before they verbalize them. So bringing them a glass of water or just taking their luggage up, just things that they would predict before they even asked for it, which we think is pretty cool.
Goes above and beyond.
Yeah.
So today, using local artists to fill the halls, which makes the place feel alive and authentic. So it's always nice when you're, highlighting local artistry. Yeah. So Ella Fitzgerald and Frank Sinatra mural is in the lobby, and that's Daniel Finch of Mechanicsburg. And then we have the quilt in the entrance by Gail Jameson of New Park, created from drapery from the ballroom.
It's just super cool.
That is. Repurpose. Anytime you can repurpose things, we love that. And then there's the stained glass by Carol Oldenburg of York, oil paintings by Rob Evans, pastels by Marion Stevenson, and painting by Ophelia Chambliss.
Yay.
So,
good
just
Yorktowne.
all of the different artists in York. Yeah. It's amazing to be able to see those featured there.
So when the guests would be here, the servers would have to code switch between their guest needs and treating everyone with respect. So one of the quotes that they would say is they would have to have the same good manners for everybody while continuing to distinguish between the dear gray-haired grandmother or a pink-cheeked child of 5, between a jovial commercial traveler and a distinguished foreigner, between a college boy and a political conventioneer, while expressing towards each just the amount of cordiality he prefers.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that too. And I like that they recognize that a child's needs are different than, like, as they said, a gray-haired grandmother.
Absolutely.
And it shows that there's some personalized tailorization, if that's a word.
Well, and it goes back to the hotel was for everyone.
Yeah.
It wasn't just for the rich and the famous.
Yes.
It was for a mother with her child or a college kid. But that just goes to show that they emphasize the golden rule. So if you were a guest, what details would you notice that would convey that message?
People can comment below if you stay somewhere that you're like, this is my go-to place. I think that knowing people by name is huge, and the eye contact for me is huge too.
That's why my mom and I love the 83 Diner in Strinestown. Everybody knows our name. It's like, cheers. You walk in and it's like, Gail Dahlia's here.
Oh, I love that.
It's just nice to feel like they know you.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yep. So why was the hotel built in the first place? So there was this other hotel that was built just north of us, and it promoted the construction of the Yorktowne in the first place. This is the Penn Harris Hotel. It opened in 1918, and it brought a gathering of about 500 people to celebrate the future of the hospitality in Harrisburg. And at the time, York did have some hotels. We had about 6. The Colonial Hotel, which is at York Square, the Hotel Penn, which is at North George, the City Hotel at West Market Street, among others. But none held a match to the Penn Harris with its 400 rooms.
Ooh, that's a big hotel. So York didn't let the Harrisburg Hotel overshadow them. So in 1924, leaders established a fundraising campaign for its first-class hotel. And as you know, they built that the following year in 1925. So now travelers could bypass Harrisburg and stay in York, or northbound could spend the night here instead of having to travel even further north. So they picked the Continental Square thanks to the hustle and bustle, including a robust transportation hub. So we had the rail, the trolley, and all of the cars that intersected there.
We might be touting how great the Yorktowne was, but there was a time that we almost lost the Yorktowne.
Yes.
You've probably seen the movie Cars. My son, I'm surprised, he loves like tractors. There's tractors all over this house. You'd think that would be one of his favorite movies.
He's not a NASCAR kid?
Yeah, not so far. I think it's a matter of time. Right now we love Kid Crew.
Oh,
Kid
okay.
Crew,
That's
all the
his
time.
thing.
My mothers and fathers listening are commiserating with me. At least it's better than a high stim.
Hey, sponsor us.
Yeah, I know. They get like millions of views, so they're doing something
That's
right.
awesome.
But Cars, the movie, is all about Route 66 and tourism and the culture due to this interstate, and how you have this cute little town that then lost people because of people just trying to get to where they're going fast. And it shows really the deterioration of our businesses and family pit stops in order to save time by speeding past our beautiful American landscape.
So the same thing almost happened to York. So I-83 officially opened in 1959, and now the old trail, aka the Susquehanna Trail, fell out of favor as motorists opted for the north and the south bypass to avoid York. So when the highway went in, it really changed how we moved around town. 10 years later, Route 30 formed a similar bypass, and this time east and west, and it replaced downtown's Market Street. And the road went right past the Yorktowne. So just like the movie Cars, the spawn of chain hotels along these major thoroughfares ended up reducing stays in locally owned hotels and motels like the Yorktowne.
In addition, we also had a significant population loss during this time because of the suburban sprawl. We also have racial strife. You think about the 1960s race riots, tropical storm Agnes. All of these contributed to people that are looking, to leave. So we had the Galleria in the West Manchester Mall that reduced the downtown foot traffic. Downtown shops closed their doors and businesses, including the Yorktowne. It really lagged to keep up with its former glorious self, which I'm happy to report, though. The presentation that the Yorktowne gave a couple weeks ago said that they are exceeding expectations.
Wow.
They've even had a couple of nights where they had 100% occupancy, which is, a great thing for York.
It is.
It's money going into our tax system. It goes into Explore York for more tourism. Like, yay,
we
go
love
York.
to see local businesses succeed. That's huge. So over time, the hotel's conditions started to deteriorate, and there were accounts of leaking roofs, outdated facilities, lack of modern amenities, and unsafe conditions in the hotel. There was even some unsafe wiring and asbestos at the time. So wings of the hotel were closed, and by the 2010s, the hotel was barely hanging on. So the York Hotel Group owed over $5 million to PNC Bank, which I'd have a heart attack. And they ended up defaulting on the loan. And if the Starwood Property Trust wouldn't have bought it, we would have seen it go to sheriff's sale.
Yep. There was a number of times they tried to renovate it in the 20s, the 70s, and 2000s, which we're going to get into in our next presentation, part 2, where it goes more into the specific renovations. But it makes us think, for those of you who are listening that saw the Yorktowne in its glory, maybe in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, did you ever think the Yorktowne was a goner?
Right.
Why invest in this, shabby old building that's not going to impact us today? I don't know. Curious to see what people think.
So now we are going to go to our takeaways. So the Yorktowne Hotel is more than just a physical building. It's a cultural and historical anchor that has adapted as the city has transformed around it. And York County almost lost the Yorktowne Hotel, so discussions of shutting it down and even demolition sparked community effort, preservationists, and community leadership to save it and restore it.
So stay tuned for our next part 2 next week on the Yorktowne. It feels good to be back.
I know. I'm so excited to be back. We're easing our way back in.
Some eCam. We like to do some online. It's a lot low pressure compared to being in person. But we will be at the Lincoln Highway Conference in June. And hopefully we'll be able to upstart some more of our live presentations.
Yeah. So always join us here on Facebook or on YouTube.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.